Hi everyone, it's me, Leetha. I'm here to talk to you today about home birth. Now, when a person talks about home birth, there are a plethora of reactions that tend to happen. Didn't they stop doing that in the 1800s? Oh my gosh, a home birth? Aren't you terrified? Oh my gosh, you're having a baby at home, so you're just gonna do it yourself? People, there are still midwives. We kind of like in our culture, everyone just assumes that having a baby is dangerous and terrifying. And really, like, it's not. It's so natural. I mean, literally, people have been doing it forever. People were even doing it before there were doctors. And, you know, the human race obviously didn't die out. It's not like I'm here to say, like, doctors are bad, don't go to the doctor. No, I think definitely some women should have babies in the hospital, like women that are incredibly, like, having a lot of complications in their pregnancy. Like, sometimes it's really important to be at the doctor. When you have a home birth, or at least when I had my home birth, I had two home births. I had a backup plan in case I needed to go to the hospital, and sometimes it happens where things aren't going the way you plan, and sometimes you have to go to the hospital. Both of my home births were done with Rebecca Knapp. And she's amazing. She's delivered over 500 babies. She's been a midwife for like 16 years. She's just such an amazing lady. Like, she has such an incredibly strong faith, and you can tell, like, during labor and delivery, like, her entire presence just, like, is so peaceful. Even though people don't realize it, there's actually a midwife institution of America, I believe it's called, or the Midwifery Institute of America, something along the lines of that, where you go and you're trained to be a midwife. I didn't have any complications during my pregnancies. I was very healthy. I'd never had a baby before. I was 20 when I had my first child, and I did all of it at home. My midwife actually has inflatable birthing pools, and a birth kit that you can order from a website. Get lots of supplies at home that you need, like clamps for the umbilical cord, and like sterile gloves, and like a liner for a pool if you're having a water birth, which I did, and like all kinds of really great things. And my labors went so well. Like, I was so very relaxed, and my babies were so healthy when they were born, and there was like zero interventions that needed to happen. I actually am good friends with a girl, and she has 3 kids, and they were all born at home. She's about 5'6". She was about 118 pounds. She has a very, very petite frame. Her frame is just little. It's just the way she is. And her babies were really big babies. I'm fairly certain, like, all 3 of her children were at least 10 pounds. And with one of her kids, like, you know, she still went to the hospital for some prenatals, and to get an ultrasound, which is what I did as well. Because you can still do that when you're having a home birth. You can still do prenatal appointments with a doctor, so you get to know a doctor, become acquainted, in case you do need to go to the hospital, which is sometimes the case. But at any rate, when she had an ultrasound on one of her kids, the doctors were very concerned because his head was so large. They actually thought he had some kind of a brain problem, and I'm positive if she would have been in the hospital, they would have told her, like, there's no way that you can give birth to a child this big with your frame. Your frame is tiny. But she gave birth to all of her kids at home. It's actually really amazing. I've been able to talk with other women who have decided to have home births. A friend of mine, actually, I talked with her about Rebecca, and she switched from going to the hospital to having a home birth, which she loved, and it went so well. She did a water birth as well, and I was there the day that she had her baby, and she got to be with her baby right away. Like, no one took the baby away, was skipped to the nursery. Like, she got to breastfeed, and it went so well, and this baby was her largest baby that she's ever had. And she's had a C-section before in the hospital because the doctors told her the baby that she was having before, which weighed a lot less and was quite a bit smaller than her last baby she just had. The doctors told her that there was no way she'd be able to deliver him and that she needed a C-section. Well, okay, so she had a home birth after having a C-section, and it was her biggest baby, and she didn't have any problems. The statistics on how many women end up having C-sections is just, it's way too many women have C-sections. It's crazy. Like, I think far too many women are induced, although I do think sometimes it's necessary for a woman to like get Pitocin, like if they've had an extremely long labor and they're just running out of energy. I know a couple of moms who have gotten Pitocin at that point just to help kind of like push through the last leg of labor. That's fine, but inducing labor can put the baby in such distress. I'm a huge advocate for home birth because, oh my gosh, it's such a wonderful experience. I mean, if a person would seem very uncomfortable having their baby at home, then maybe having a baby in the hospital is a better option for them, because what really the best thing to do is to be as comfortable as you can as a mom who's in labor and giving birth. Like, if you're not comfortable, like, your body's gonna hold back and you're not gonna be able to have your baby in a peaceful manner. So I tend to be really uncomfortable in hospitals, and I just think like giving birth to a baby when there's absolutely no problems whatsoever in a hospital makes me uncomfortable, because there's, you know, people go to the hospital when they're sick, and when you're having a baby, you're not sick. Like I said, there are some women who have problems, but my midwife like monitors everything, and she like checks the baby's heart rate, and she measures, and she does like at-home prenatal appointments, and she's amazing. She can tell you exactly where your baby is, exactly what you need to do, like if you're missing something that you need to add, or, you know, like, she's very professional, and I just love her so much. I had my daughter in my kitchen in a birthing pool, and it was so relaxing. Like, the moment I sat in the pool, half of my contractions, like, basically, like, I wouldn't say they disappeared, but like they got so mild that it was like, okay, I can do this. And I didn't tear, not a single tear with either of my kids. Like, oh, the labor and delivery just went beautifully. And like I said before, Rebecca is just such a calming presence, and like, it's so cool. Like, that woman loves Jesus, and you can tell because she just brings him with her wherever she goes. So, I mean, I love it. My son, I gave birth to in my dining room, actually, in my apartment building. So if you think you can't have a home birth because you live in an apartment building, you can. I just talked to my neighbors before I went into labor, and I told them I was having a home birth. I guess what I really want for all women is for them to be able to experience a peaceful birth where they can bond with their child, and that there are things that, you know, a lot of people like make it sound like a terrible thing. Like, you know, a lot of people, I've actually heard people say like, oh, if I wouldn't have had my baby in the hospital, they would have died because the cord was wrapped around their neck. No, that's actually really normal. Like, my midwife has unwrapped babies from the most insane like cords ever. My children, both of them were born with cords around their neck, and birth, labor, and delivery is so dramatized in our culture, and it's crazy because our infant mortality rate in like the hospitals is so high. There are countries that are like way behind us, and like their infant mortality rate is way lower because they use midwives, and it's so much better. But my goal here is not to say like hospitals are bad, because, you know, like, hospitals are a good backup plan. Like, sometimes you have an emergency, right?
Yeah.
You were born at home, and that was a very good time. You were so cute and so little. My kids have never had a jaundice. Like, they just, there's so many things that my kids were just so healthy and just thrived, and my recovery time was wonderful, and I could go straight from having my baby into my own bed. My family was home together, and there are plenty of options out there for women who want to have babies at home. That is kind of my story. I don't know, like, if there's anything else. There's so many things that I want to say about the topic, but I had wonderful experiences. Like, I got to sleep and I got to eat during labor, which is so important to keep your energy up. I got to drink water. I actually painted my toenails when I was in labor. Like, didn't have to be hooked up to machines because, you know, like there are definitely ways of monitoring a woman in labor without having to hook her up to so many things, which is just more stressful. But anyway, so that is my little take on home birth. I love it. I'm behind it 100%. And doctors are wonderful, but they don't always need to be there for babies. Like, if you can do it at home, I would highly, highly recommend it. It is so worth it.
And my nurse is in the bedroom.
I don't know what you just said. Well, that's all I have to say about the topic today. If anyone has any questions about home births or either of my birth stories, because I've had 2 children, you know, I'm always willing to make more videos and share more information. And oh, I would, before I go, I wanted to make a recommendation. If you are unfamiliar with home birth and statistics on like home birth, I recommend the documentary or the book written by Ricky Lake called The Business of Being Born. And I think there's another one out there too, but that kind of like talks about it a lot more. And I thought that was really good, especially for someone who's never really been acquainted with home birth. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye!